Today we're going to talk about the power of a season. Yes, there are seasons in our lives. There are points in our lives where we need to grow and points in the lives where we need to harvest. A lot of us want to reach to the point where we're harvesting, but we ignore the points in which we need to grow. So you see, just like there are seasons, there are the spring seasons, then there's fall, then there's winter. They're all these different seasons throughout the year, and all of them are needed. Let's take, for example, an apple. An apple is grown in certain temperate areas in which the temperature is a certain degree, or they get winter, they make and produce some of the best apples. But did you know that you need to have a certain type of winter in order for that bounty to come with that production of that apple? You see, so in tropical areas, you won't be able to get apple grown to the degree that you will get apple grown in an area where they have winter, because certain conditions are important for that apple tree to produce a full bounty of fruit. So what I'm saying here is that you go through certain situations in your life, you're placed in certain work environments, and what you don't realize, a lot of those environments are conducive in order for you to grow into the person that your creator is desiring for you to grow. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you think, what's happening? Why is it I'm stuck here? A lot of times we're stuck where we are because we haven't learned the lesson that we need to learn. There's something in that environment, something in that season of our lives that we need to master. And as we master that individual thing, or as we master that thing, we're able to move forward. You see, I've always tell people, I will teach anybody anything, but one thing I can't do is to force someone to learn. And you know that adage that goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. And that's the same thing with our personal growth. That is the same thing with our learning. That's the same thing when we're in the seasons of our lives. You could have everything that you need. Somebody else could be encouraging you. Somebody else could point out to you what you need to see. But unless you are willing to learn, unless you are willing to grow, unless you are willing to take the necessary steps that you need to take to advance, you will never leave that particular season that you are to move into the next season. You see, seasons are so important in our lives because seasons develop us. Just like a season develop a tree, our apple tree, to produce apples. That's the same way the seasons in our lives develop us. There will be times in our lives where we need to be still and grow. There will be times in our lives where we need to work on ourselves. There will be times in our lives where we need to build our self-confidence. There will be times in our lives where we need to develop how to say no. Too many of us don't learn how to effectively say no. We say yes to everything. And if you say yes to everything, you won't be able to get anything done effectively. You won't be able to get anything done with a spirit of excellence. And if you say yes to everything, you might not be on the path that your creator desire for you to be on at that moment. So you have to learn to filter everything through his spirit. And as you filter it, you have to learn to say no. No, there is nothing wrong with saying no. When someone asks you to do something and you know you're not prepared for it, when someone asks you to do something and you know they're going to waste your time, you could clearly say no. You could clearly say no. You have to understand the seasons that you are in life. Seasons are very unique, but the very unique thing with seasons, you got to prepare for them. Like a hurricane season, when a hurricane season is coming, you have to get your house all prepared and ready for that season. And that's the same way. That's why it's so important that each and every one of us develop ourselves, grow daily. Each and every one of us take the necessary steps that we need to develop us. Each and every one of us take the time we need every day to read the good book. Each and every one of us take the time every day to develop ourselves by reading motivational books, reading self-development books, reading books that elevate us, listening to CDs, doing all of those things, putting the good book into action. You see, we have to prepare, because if we don't prepare, then when times of chaos and times of hardship and times of struggles come, our roots won't be strong enough. So we see we have to prepare in the times of preparation. A lot of us, what we do, we lean on everybody else. We lean on everybody else's support, everybody else's brains, everybody else's actions. And what we don't realize, some of those people may not be around when we really need them. They may move on in their seasons. You see, a lot of times people are placed in our lives as scaffolding. You see, they're there as scaffoldings, just like you put a scaffolding around a building. The scaffolding cannot stay around the building permanently. The scaffolding at one point has to be removed, and as you remove that scaffolding, that's the only way you're going to be able to finish the building to its full glory. That's the same way with us. Some people are placed in our lives as scaffolding, support, so that we could learn, and we have to identify when people are there, what they know. You see, what I usually do is when people come into my life that knows a lot more than I know, or knows something in different areas, every time I'm around them, I learn something, because I realize that seasons change. And as seasons change, that person may not be in my life as close as they are in the future. And as a result of that, I need to take advantage of what's there now. I need to do today what others will not, so I could do tomorrow what others cannot. I need to use that opportunity to learn as much as I can from them. So when they are around me as a scaffolding, as a support, I don't use them as a gopher. I don't use them as somebody that does all the work. I come in and I team with them. I come in and I do my part, and I make sure that I learn from them as well. A lot of times we can't go through the seasons in our lives because we're not willing to swallow all pride. You see, we don't know something, and instead of not learning it, we want somebody else to do it. But you see, the more you learn, the more you improve, and the more you work on your skill set, the more equipped you are to go through the seasons in life. A lot of us, we can't go through the seasons in life, or something will keep us like slaves. I'm going to explain that, because systems have a tendency of enslaving you if you do not know how they function. Like, for instance, if you're working, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you're not learning how to invest, if you're not learning how to save that money, if you're not learning how to put that money aside, you will never make ends meet. You will live a comfortable life, but all of a sudden, if something breaks or something happens, you constantly are in a rut. You constantly are down in the hole. So in that season while you're making, and in the season while you're making more than everybody else, you need to learn how to save. You need to learn how to invest. You need to learn how to plant some of those seeds so they could grow you an orchard. You need to learn how to plant some of those seeds so they could grow you an avocado farm. You need to know how to plant some of those seeds so they could be making passive income for you while you're sleeping. You need to know how to plant some of those seeds so that it multiplies, where you are increasing more in what's being multiplying than what you're spending. The moment you're able to do that, then that's where you walk in abundance. And you see, a lot of times what we do, we look at the seasons and we get so temperamental about it. We want to enjoy things. We want to wear the nice clothes. We want to drive the nice cars. We want to look better than everybody else. But then all of a sudden, that season leaves us. All of a sudden, that season is over. And then there's a dry spot. And then the oasis is all dried up. The pond is all dried up. And then as a result, we get all stressful. So we have to learn to realize you have to be just like that ant. That the seasons, there has to be seasons where you're storing things up. And as you're storing things up, then you're able to eat in the hard times. You have to be the times where you have your grain storage and you're taking a portion of your grain and you're storing it away for the tough times. You see, so you have to learn to master your finances. You have to learn to master your emotions. You have to learn to grow spiritually. You have to learn to grow emotionally. You have to learn to grow down those roots to grow relationally. You have to learn to grow economically. You have to learn to grow influentially. So you have to learn in all of these areas so you're taking advantage of your season. So go out there and learn the power of a season and have an awesome growth day. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button below. Hit the subscribe button below. And when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to select the bell, because by selecting the bell, it gives you that wonderful opportunity to be notified whenever I add a future video. God bless you.